Book of Eclipse and its younger brother, Book of Lunar Eclipse, are two of the best buys right now under $5 or less. Which one's better? Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're talking about the best-selling cards under $5 or less. Book of Eclipse. We did it. I used to pray for times like this. I'll say this about Book of Eclipse. I don't really love this. During the end phase of this turn, changes many face down monsters your opponent controls it to face up, and then your opponent draws cards equal to the number of monsters changed by this card's effect. I don't really love that. And I always felt like that was the thing that kept Book of Eclipse out of the meta, was the fact that your opponent can just... And by the way, as far as the mic is concerned, I had technical issues with the last mic, so we had to get rid of it. Back to the headset. Another form of housekeeping. I shoot all my videos and edit all my videos at once and then post them. If you hadn't already picked up on that, that's why I'm wearing the same shirt in every video. But that's also why last week I was talking about the upcoming ban list after it had already came out. I did all of that. An hour went by. I had already had so much content already edited and done. It really didn't matter. I like assumed Tier Elements was like, there were no surprises on the ban list. I wasn't like one of the market watchers like, we really should pick up Scythe right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't do that. So I didn't really want to. I feel the need to get rid of them. But that's why, if you guys were confused, and I said that on the ban list discussion video as well, that's why. But anyway, back to the market watch. I don't really think right now is the best time to pick up Book of Eclipse. I think we could definitely, because it's really not great against anything else. Like, Dark Ruler No More, Lightning Storm, Raigeki is really good against everything else. It just so happens that if you Dark Ruler No More a Kashtira field, you still can't use your monster zones because of the way it works. But if you flip a face down, now we're in a different spot. Now you can use your monster zones again. So that's why we do see people playing Book of Eclipse a lot more. If you have copies of Book of Eclipse, now is the time to go check. Now is the time to go look. I have 3 copies, so I'm probably not going to sell them. I'm probably going to run them in the side deck, specifically for Kashtira. But the thing is, too, with Kashtira, they're probably going to eventually just run something in the main deck or probably the extra deck to go against Book of Eclipse, specifically to go against Book of Eclipse. I know it might seem like they don't have anything now, but they'll probably will find something in there, right? So if you have Book of Eclipse, sell it. If you think Book of Eclipse is going to go up in value, you think I'm just the crazy cuckoo man in the corner, that's fine. I always say, spend your money how you feel. I always try to make a point of saying that as much as I can, because I feel like other people who do Yu-Gi-Oh! Market watches don't and should say that, because sometimes people have the wherewithal to go, no, that card's not going to go up in value, I'm not going to listen to you. But sometimes people go, well, they said the cards can go up in value, so I'm going to listen to them. So it's just important, like, spend your money how you feel. Like, that, I could almost put that on a t-shirt. I don't love Book of Eclipse right now, but I will say this, and obviously this could all be speculative, but I do remember picking up the Spirit Charmer structure deck, seeing that Book of Eclipse was in there, grabbing Book of Eclipse, holding the Book of Eclipses, and going, this always has potential to be a good budget side deck card. Because I did remember a format a long time ago where Book of Eclipse came out, right? So I'm just saying, only reason I'm saying that is because, like, I do know what people like to buy, what people like to sell, what people like to play, right? So I do feel like I have a really solid opinion on it, but like I always say, spend your money how you feel. Like, for me, I would pick up Ash right now. All versions of Ash are lower than their market price. This one's really close. The Legendary Collection Kaiba. The structure deck reprint just came out. Another structure deck. It's the 3rd structure deck reprint for Ash. I would pick it up. And the reason for that is this card is just never going to be bad. And it could it get power crept? Maybe. DD Crow hasn't really gotten power crept, though. Bystials came out, kind of power crept DD Crow, but Sky Striker as of right now, hard loses to DD Crow because you can just banish their engage. Um, or I don't know. A lot of decks that end up having like Salamangreat. You get that Gazelle in graveyard. You try to add it back with Wolf for next turn. DD Crow, right? Bisteel can't banish that either. Effect Veiler always randomly finds its way back into format. I mean, we just saw Chaos Hunter's probably going to be somewhere on this Market Watch or the next one. Like old cards, and Ash isn't really that old. It's about 6 years old, I believe. Maximum Crisis. How old is Maximum Crisis? That feels like a trivia pursuit question that I just will not know the answer to. Man, hey, masterpiece. Um, I think so. I think it's 6 years feels right, but like 6 years as of 2023. So it's really like a 5-year-old card, right? Another big thing too that you got to keep in mind with Ash is like every ban list we go, should Max E come back? Should Max E come back? Ash? If you play Master Duel, you know Ash hard counters Max E. It is such a good way. You discard a card for Max E, I discard a card for Ash. It's such a great trade. One of the best interactions Ash has in the game. I think it's a great time to buy all versions of Ash Blossom. But if I had to pick one specific one that also fits the $5 or less, there aren't a lot, by the way, if you haven't noticed. Actually, I can't. I actually cannot pick one. It's been picked for me. This is the only version of Ash Blossom under $5 or less. As are the structure deck reprint for Trap Tricks will also be under $5. So I would pick this one because it is a little bit older. But if that could also be over $5, I doubt it. But I'm pretty sure, right? There's a in the structure deck they announced for Ash. I'm like 95% sure. Um, this is interesting too. So Book of Lunar Eclipse. I actually really like this card. So discard one card, target 2 face-up monsters on the field, change it to face-on defense position. So it's similar to Book. So it's similar to Book of Eclipse. Obviously, it doesn't flip everything face down. But when we look at the potential game state where we would want to activate Book of Eclipse, what circumstance do you see where you would want to target 3 or more monsters instead of just the 2? I just feel like Book of Lunar Eclipse could be super huge, right? Even Book of Moon, right? Even Book of Moon, which is what these kind of cards all kind of do, it doesn't have that negative drawback. And I really like Book of Lunar Eclipse, and it has 120 listings. But here's the thing: everybody has barely any copies of it. Like we go back to Ash, for example. We go back to Ash. We go back to this Crystal Beast structure deck Ash, right? The first page, if it loads, 29 copies, 37 copies, 180, 341 copies sold by cheap trading cards. Cheps? Cheaps. I don't know. Book of Lunar Eclipse. One copy, one copy, one copy, one copy, one copy. You have to get all the way down here to Dabbers, who has 6. I believe the most is this Skya, that one guy, with 22. That's the most, right? You got 16, 18, 22, all at about $1, right? I know it says the market price is 45, 50 cents. The market price is really $1 because there really aren't that many Book of Lunar Eclipses for 50 cents. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one. So that's 5. And that's it. And then it'll be 75 cents if someone just comes in and buys all those out. Cards for hire. I like for hire. Anyway, and the interesting thing too, we go back. Okay, we got top deck TCG with 40. We got Wolfwood Bros cards with 8, and then all of a sudden we're back to 1s and 1 and 2 copies and 1 copy and 2. It's actually not that hard to see a potential buyout here. Just an idea. We can't talk about this card because it is over $5. But we will probably see this card on the other Market Watch because it solves the same problems that Book of Eclipse does without the drawback. Now you do have to have the discard as well, so that's their drawback. but I would rather discard than have my opponent draw 3 because I couldn't out their monsters. Just my thought. Like I literally just said, spend your money how you feel. Um, a couple of really new cards. Which is exciting. Which is just it's just again can we just take a moment? Because I've been talking about this, and it feels so repetitive sometimes. But now the format just got shook, and we got a huge set and a huge ban list at the same time, and we're getting a structure set coming out soon. So a lot of stuff to talk about. Made to order mermaid outfitter. Target one card in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, then add one card from your deck to your hand with the same name. Ooh, I like that a lot. Hmm. I like that a lot. Because this is I know I just said this is 3 times in a row. I just got really excited. Um I haven't seen this card. Like we look at Photon, I feel like I look at Photon Hypernova. Um is this thing under $5? Okay, I think so. Is it? Yeah, these all look like they're under $5. Um we look at Photon Hypernova. I've seen this card. I've seen this card. I've seen this card. Um, like I've seen the field spell, triple tacked its thrust. We'll talk about these cards a little bit on the other market watch, right? But I haven't really seen this card. Um, it's tricky because where are you playing it, right? But you gotta also remember this can target hand traps too. This just targets cards. Like it doesn't even specify monsters. So if you're facing a warrior deck and they're playing reinforcements of the army, you can target your opponent's reinforcement of the army and banish it. If you're playing the mirror match for like Sprite, you can target your opponent's Sprite blue, banish it, and get your own. Right? I actually really like this. I think the reason why this card's $1 is probably wasn't too short printed, and also it requires your opponent to do something. And that just inherently in card games, if a card requires your opponent to do something, it's inherently not as good. And this is definitely that case. But I could definitely see this card being worth $2, $3, $4. Um, Feels similar to Small World, where like Small World was cheap when it first came out, but not like super cheap. And then people were like, "Oh my gosh, this card's insane," and it got really expensive to where it had to get a reprint. And even now, Small World's still kind of expensive. Now, I see this getting to the heights of Small World? That's not what I'm saying. But could I see it being a $5 card at some point soon? Yes, I actually really like that card. Um, all right, let's do number one. Let's figure out what's going on with number one. So you can target light or dark banish special. This is a quick effect if your opponent controls monster. If your opponent special summons one of these things, you contribute another light or dark monster target and banish them. That's fun. Bystials are just a lot worse. Cause like even though light and dark attributes, like when you look at the decks that run light and dark attributes versus the other attributes, these are the best ones. Like the best attributes are like light, dark, water, earth, wind, fire, divine beasts. Right? Is that the name of that the god cards? I think they're divine beasts. I don't know. Like that's the order of like how good attributes are. So I get it. Like you will still see decks like Dragon Link, um tier element still kind of trying to be a thing. Um, but if we look at like Sprite's got a whole bunch of different cards. If we look at Kashtira, I think they're fire. Yeah. So shout out to that. Shout out to fire. I always love when fire archetypes get support. Um, when we look at Floandries, obviously they're wind. Um, Sword Soul's a bunch of different cards. Exosister, I think, is dark. Is Exosister dark? Why can I not think of it? Um, Light and dark. Okay, so Exosister's light and dark. But like for the most part, you understand what I'm trying to get at here, right? Of like the Bystials just aren't as good as they used to be. It is a really good high selling card. Um, in an archetype that can support this card, go ahead. But I wouldn't be running it the Bystials kind of like you were before when Tier Elements was the best deck in the room. Let's look at non-Photon Hypernova. Preparation rights. How much time? How much time has gone by? Goodness gracious. I could probably spend an entire video on this card. Preparation rights. So the best selling. Let's start there. Amazing Defender, Secret Forces, Battles of Legends, Relentless Revenge. What's interesting about this card is that it has no bad printings. I don't like rare personally, but gold rare is fine. But the regular rare I'm not a big fan of. It is also the best selling though, probably because it's the cheapest. I'd assume it's the cheapest. 25, yeah, it's the cheapest. So, as far as could this card be a good target for a potential buyout? Well, first one we want to look at is the one with the smallest listings, which is not a penny stock, but probably is a good target. That's real quick, but probably is a good target for buyout. If we look at the next lowest listings, this looks really good too. Actually, if you've ever seen this version, the premium gold Return of the Bling version of pre-prep, or no, just regular prep, excuse me, it's actually really cool looking. And this is about a penny stock. And once again, we play this game where we see, okay, they have 30 listings, but how many cards are there really? Like, how many listings are even just more than one? I mean, 3, right? Let's say that. Peagle, Yugioh, Olympus, TCG. This has got to stop. Okay. That's what I get for using Microsoft Edge. Toy Wiz. And this is the most expensive one. So you don't even have to buy this. Just ignore this one. This one is $2 plus. This was $6, right? It's a 50-cent card. Actually, no, excuse me. The other version was. This is $3 card. Don't buy the one for $6. So we don't buy the one for $6. So we have 29 listings. Of the 29 listings, 2 are selling more than one. Peachel Yugioh and Olympus TCG. So of the 29 listings, you're looking at 32. Even if we bought the last 4, 36. There are 36 copies of the premium gold Return of the Bling version of Preparation of Rights on the market. Do with that information that you will. Libromancer is kind of starting to do its thing. I think Libromancer is the one that's running the Minkanko cards. Unless Preparation of Rights used to be at 1. And there's just Ritual has a lot of support. And there is always going to be like just a ritual based archetype that's wandering around the format doing its own thing. I don't think Drytron really runs Preparation of Rights, which is probably why people weren't looking at it, but I think all copies are a good buy just to mess around with. But I think the best one is that premium gold version because it says 30 listings and it means like 36 cards of that are on the market. And do with your money how you feel, like I said. But 36. Let's just say they're all at $6, even though we know they're most of them are at $3. So let's average it out to 5. 36 at 5 is 72 times 2 is 4 is 144 plus another 36. 150, 180. 36 times 5 is 180. So you're spending about 200 bucks taking all those Return the Bling versions, flipping them back on the market for $10 a pop and selling it for 360. I don't know if it'll work, right? It's just crazy enough it might though, right? We'll take a look at one non-Photon Hypernova card, and probably just spend next week talking all about Photon Hypernova at this point, because it's just all over the market. I'm not talking about Nibiru. Nibiru's a good card. I don't love Nibiru. I think Nibiru was one of the cards that was actually featured in that video I talked about, like good bad cards, like the best bad, the worst good cards. That's the one I'm looking for. Um, I see maybe about, this feels arbitrary, but like the 60% of the time Nibiru resolves you in the duel, which just doesn't feel really good. I don't even think 60 is right. I think it's like 45. It's like 45. Um, a lot of Photon Hypernova. Cosmic Cyclone. DD Crow. Cosmic Cyclone being 15 cents feels nice. Are they all really cheap? Nope. Most of them are, though. Yeah, this card used to be real, like, $2, $3, $4, but there's just so many printings of it at this point. It's not really a point to do all that. The Pearly cards. People really like this archetype. People really, really like this archetype. I have made fun of Pearlies multiple times, and I have gotten slandered for it every single time. To the where point I'm done. I am done. Scout's honor. Okay, I am done making fun of Pearlies. I think it's a great buy. Like I said, I don't know. Let's take a look at this. What's interesting about this? Spiral Resort came off the ban list. Spirals are kind of like Warrior Toolbox now. And this isn't a penny stock. When we look at Infernoble Knight, they almost always get thrown in there when there's a Warrior Toolbox deck. It's just interesting. I think people are just messing around with it, seeing if they can, if they can mess around, right, with the Spiral stuff. I also think too, Infernoble Knight, like outside of Spiral, like just Warrior Toolbox, Infernoble Knight Toolbox, is actually a really just consistently good archetype. And this card's desperately needed a reprint. Finally got one. And so that's why this card's in the top 24 best-selling cards under $5 or less. Excuse me. There are a lot of copies of it because it was probably a relatively popular printed version of a super rare. But I think this is a relatively solid buy. I don't remember how many copies of this card do you run. Once we find it, then we'll know the truth. 2. So sometimes 2, sometimes 3. Yeah, so this probably will take a while for it to fully gain some steam, but like I said, I saw it Spiral, like the new way Spiral's playing. Warrior Toolbox, and Warriors are similar to Dragons or like Spellcasters, where there's just so much support for Warriors at this point, where you have Isolde, where you have Reinforcement of the Army, a Beast of the Wild, is that right? And there's so many great Warriors too. That's not Beast of the Wild. Is it Beast of the Wild? I don't know. I don't know what. Okay, I know what card I'm thinking of. Like I can think of it in my head, but I don't think I'm gonna find it. All right, I give up. I give up. I concede. But anyway, point that I'm just trying to make is this. Warriors are kind of like Dragon League, where they're just always going to be good. Even if it's like tier 3, tier 4, it's still going to be something fun that you can mess around with and do different things with. Because I just don't think there's enough things that could happen to just like Warrior deck. And that's really, when we look at a bunch of different Yu-Gi-Oh decks, like B Troopers, for example. It's like Beat Troopers Battle Wasp, some Trap Tricks cards will get thrown in there soon. Or like Sun Avalon and like Rika and not Rose Lover, Lone Fire Blossom, a bunch of different plant stuff. Cybers dot deck with like Math Mech, Salamangreat, but mostly like Code Talker, Math Mech, um, Attic Nister, different things like that. That's kind of what like Dragon Link is. That's what it really started at, with like rockets and like White Dragon Wyverson, Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, Red Eyes, the Bestial stuff. Warriors have their own version of that as well, and it can do some really interesting and neat things if you know the combos for it as well. So I think this is actually a really solid buy. But let me know what you guys think. What are the best selling cards under $5 or less that you were looking out for? Let me know in those comments down below. Make sure you guys click that like button to show your support for the channel. Subscribe for even more content. But most importantly of all, have a good day.